Or the fans can like decide if they want
Hey, fans.
Welcome back to the pre-wrap pod, week 2. Hopefully you were with us for week 1, and hopefully it's just going to be a steady incline from week to week. But I'm Katherine Silva.
I'm Sydney Meyer.
I'm Lucy Roberts.
Cool. Let's dive right in.
All right. So I think we're going to start this week with the top 25 breakdown.
Yeah.
The AP poll released week 10 a couple days ago, and we have some opinions.
We have a lot of opinions.
So I think like the way I want to frame this conversation this week is that, at least from what I'm seeing, I feel like there's an overvalued conference and an undervalued conference. And I have some receipts and I have some stats to back up this opinion, and I want to hear what you guys have to think too.
We're ready.
Okay. So starting off, my vote for undervalued conference is the Big 12.
Yeah, I would agree.
We kind of touched on Texas Tech last week, and kind of, Lucy, you know, you kind of covered the Texas Tech disrespect. That kind of rhymes.
Lucy stuck her neck out for Texas
I know.
Tech.
I did. They're still undefeated.
Yeah, they're still undefeated. They're still ranked at 17. Or not still. They're only ranked at 17. So, again, just to recap, they're undefeated, so 19-0. And they are ranked only one spot above Baylor.
That's crazy.
Who is 15-3, who they beat 60-61. Okay, so I think on its face it seems really crazy. I was really confused by that, so I went back and I kind of looked around and did some digging, and basically I'm pretty sure that this is the way that it is, they voted the way that they have because Baylor has more impressive losses. So Texas Tech, Baylor has been Texas Tech's only ranked opponent so far.
Right. Yeah, Texas Tech's schedule is not that difficult.
It's not that difficult.
It's going to be difficult coming up too, so the losses might start coming.
Oh, really?
Right.
Yeah.
Who are notable matchups that they have coming?
Well, before we go let's recap what they've done.
Yeah.
So basically, Texas Tech has played only one ranked opponent, which is Baylor. And then Baylor has played Iowa State, who they beat 72-70, Texas Tech, who they lost to 89-54, and Iowa, who they lost to 57-52.
And Texas.
And Texas, that's who they lost to 89-54. They lost to Texas Tech, but they only lost to Texas Tech 60-61.
Right.
So that was a very, very close game. So I think that I was really confused with that before. Maybe we can talk about this. Can be our little what we talk about. But now that I've kind of gone through and read all this, I feel like I kind of understand where the AP poll is coming from. Texas Tech has beat West Virginia,
right?
Who was previously ranked,
right?
And I think should be in the top 25.
And who just beat Iowa State.
Which is
crazy.
Thank you. This is a bit convoluted. So I think that this should be more of an asset and should mean more for Texas Tech than it seems like it does right now.
Yeah.
That's my take. Because West Virginia has beat two ranked teams. They beat Iowa State, like you just said, 83-70. So that's a pretty handed
sizable
win,
yeah.
right? And then they beat Duke when they were ranked.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and they lost to Ohio State by only 2 points.
Yeah.
Which 81-83. So it was a fairly high scoring game and only by one possession. So basically West Virginia is playing TCU today, which is a really big game for them.
Yeah, that's going to be a good game.
And I think that this is a big opportunity to prove that they deserve back in the top 25, and 2, I think that this is kind of a chance for Texas Tech. We get to see how impressive this win over West Virginia actually will be for them. Who do we know? Texas Tech, who they're playing?
Next, they play Kansas State, but then they play at BYU and then at Utah, and then they host Iowa State and then TCU. So they have
Wow.
like a difficult slate coming up. Utah is another team.
Sleeper?
Sleeper, yeah.
They've been
They're being slept on.
they are being slept on. So I think and they're at Utah. I feel like they might lose to Utah if they don't
that's
lose
your call?
before. Yeah. I agree that they haven't had a very difficult. Like, it's still impressive that they're 19-0 overall, 6-0 in Big 12 play, because it is, like we said, it's an undervalued conference. I do think it's a competitive conference, but they've definitely played some of the worst teams in the conference so far. So yeah, this will be a good test for them to see, like, you know, what they're really made of.
Yeah. Yeah, Catherine, when you hear...
I mean, I feel like this is what makes like the AP Top 25 poll so difficult and so interesting and fun to talk about. Like, you even talking about Baylor, I feel impressed by what they've done against those teams, but I also am not fully bought in. Like, they beat Iowa State by like 2 points, which is a close win, and then they had a blowout loss to Texas, and then a pretty close loss to Iowa, and then they lost to Texas Tech, I guess, by 1 point. So I don't know how much the Texas Tech win to me, like against Baylor, speaks on how successful they're going to be, especially with such a difficult schedule coming up. I do think it's very impressive that they're 19-0, but I feel like this like next slate of games is really going to determine how well they're going to do going forward, and especially in the tournament. I'm curious about the Iowa State game, to be honest. That stands out to me the most.
Yeah, I think Iowa State's a really interesting team to me too.
Yeah,
I think like Audie Crooks is obviously one of the most efficient scorers like in college basketball. I think like we looked it up the other day. I think it's like 69% from the field.
just unheard
she's actually unbelievable. I know, like, there was, like, a video that made the rounds that ESPN posted about Baylor kind of exposing her defensive abilities or effort or whatever you want to call it. So...
just, like, her stat sheet. It was, like, something about how her stat sheet is, like, not very even.
Yeah, it's an unbalanced stat sheet. Like, I mean... So, the thing about that Baylor game, too, is I think it's going to expose Iowa State, it has exposed... like the scout for that's going to be the scout for every other team going forward is like how they want to play them.
Yeah.
And it's also a challenge to Audie Crooks. Like she's got to step it up.
Totally.
So I think we're going to learn a lot more about
because who had Iowa State been playing before? Like, it might have, like, was it kind of similar to Texas Tech where they hadn't been playing like a ton of super competitive teams?
Right.
So I don't know, it might be kind of I'm interested to see Texas Tech host Iowa State.
Yeah, that matchup too, and like who they have in the paint
to
stop her is gonna be determined. I feel like the outcome of the game.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, and then we have our overvalued conference, which my take is that the overvalued conference is the Big Ten.
I mean, absolutely. It's the Big Ten, and I feel like the SEC a little bit, and I feel like it's like that for most college sports, but break us down through the Big Ten.
Yeah, okay. So I think like the case study that I want to use for the Big Ten is USC.
Yes.
USC exited the top 25 at week 10. Okay. And they remained, so that means they remained in the top 25 for 9 weeks without any impressive wins or losses. They lost to South Carolina. They lost to UCLA 80-46.
That's
unreal. They lost to Notre Dame, who was previously kicked out of the top 25 for, in my opinion, more impressive losses. They lost to UConn. They did beat number 24 Nebraska, but like I think what I'm confused about is, I've been, for the past couple of seasons, the Big Ten has been somewhat competitive. You had like Caitlin Clark at Iowa. You had Ohio State had a lot of success in the tournament in the past couple of years.
UCLA,
right? Like especially when they like came in. Iowa State, and
USC was like, competitive too.
Yeah,
with Juju.
And so like I think to a certain extent I get like this argument that I feel like is being made in the poll, which is like there's this depth. But I have to say, like, there are 8 ranked Big Ten teams in the top 25 as of this week. And what I feel like I'm seeing is that there's like UCLA at the top, and then it feels like everybody else is just like battling for like who's second.
Yeah.
And a lot of these teams that we're seeing like in kind of like the middle of the top 25 are all playing each other and beating each other. And so what I don't know if I feel like I can't tell if this is like if this is just like a competitive conference because everyone's really good, or a competitive conference because there's one team that's really, really good, and then like everyone else is just like trying to figure each other out.
Yeah, kind of like level out.
I feel like the ACC, for example, has been like very similar in that I feel like there's like Louisville who's performing really, really well, and then like everyone else is kind of like it's hard to track like how good everyone is, and we also have like these former like heavy hitters that were like really good. So basically, what I'm saying is like I'm really trying to figure out like what makes the Big Ten quality of play of higher value than of like a Big 12, for example. That's like my question. And I don't know, do you all have any ideas about that? Because I'm really at a loss. Like I don't think I'm seeing anything in the Big Ten that's like the quality of play is like so much more outstanding than other conferences. They have 8 teams.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And I think the Big 12 had 4, I want to say, off the top of my head. So, yeah, I don't know. Any ideas?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I don't really understand. I also just, when it comes to the AP poll in general, I'm kind of confused, like, about the parameters because they're very, like, obviously qualitative. Like, I just don't know how they're judged exactly. Like, I feel like anytime I feel like I understand, like, where the voters are coming from, there's, like, something random that kind of
like
skews it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, we talked about how Duke's not, I thought Duke would maybe squeak back in this week, and they're not there, so that could maybe speak to your point about ACC teams not being in over some of these other Big Ten teams.
Like when I look at like 25 right now is 14-3 Illinois,
right,
and 24 is 14-3 Nebraska, and those are both Big Ten teams. And I just like I don't think I like Duke's schedule. Like yes, I think they have more losses, but their schedule has been so much more difficult,
way more.
And like if you look at who Duke has lost. They lost to Baylor by 6 points. That was like their season opener. They lost to West Virginia, who we've already discussed. Like that's a sleeper team, in my opinion. They did have a pretty bad loss to South Carolina, but like that's South Carolina. You know, like they've lost to UCLA and LSU. They're losing to teams that are like really highly ranked, and then they beat Notre Dame like by. Like that's a 68-82. Like that's a pretty impressive win. And like Notre Dame is now ranked and Duke isn't.
Right.
So I feel like, okay, all that being said, I'm like, I feel like the poll is like taking into account like who has beat who in like the Big 12. Like Texas Tech is ranked over Baylor, even though Baylor has more impressive losses. But I feel like they're not really taking that into account when it comes to like the ACC. For example, Duke and Notre Dame. I think if Duke is beating Notre Dame by like almost 15 points, like they should be in the top 25 over Notre Dame.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so those are my AP questions this week. What's going on with the Big Ten? I think that's something I need to look into.
I mean, I feel like they always like value and favor the Big Ten a little bit more. But I feel like for me, I'm like that if you're in the Big Ten, like it's such a like honor to be in the Big Ten, like historically, just like the types of teams that they produce. I feel like they should be judged like more harshly. Like to me, last week when I saw USC in the top 25 at like 10-4, like you can't be in the top 25 at 10-4.
No,
like it's just crazy. And now I feel like they obviously have no leg to stand on at 10-6, and they're not in the top 25. But I feel like yeah, I don't know. I feel like the hammer should be coming down a little bit harder on some of these Big Ten teams.
Yeah, and I also think like if we're talking about the ACC, which isn't like the center of this conversation, but it's a comparable. It's another Power 4 league. Like, yes, I feel like the ACC has lost like a lot of these like heavy hitters, like your Duke, your UNC, like the NC State. Like these are teams that like have been so good in the past that just like don't really look that good this year.
Right.
But and so I feel like because like these heavy hitters have had like rough starts, or like NC State, for example, like they're probably not going to have a very good year this year, which is unfortunate. But that's because they lost like
Isaiah James.
Yeah, they lost
Rivers.
like 2 WNBA players. Same with Notre Dame. They lost Maddie Westbeld, Sonia Citron. And then last week we talked all about how they lost Olivia Miles. So it's like, I don't know. Like I think I'm just like trying to figure out like,
Where's the grace for the ACC?
yeah, where's the grace for the ACC?
Absolutely. Any big Big Ten matchups or Big Ten ACC crossover matchups that you're looking forward to going into the week?
The one that I am most excited for, it's going to be on Monday. It's Vanderbilt and Michigan. I feel like this is going to be a great matchup to kind of test this like theory, I guess, that the Big Ten is performing at this really impressive level, and that like their conference wins for some reason mean more than like other conference wins, because I feel like it's pretty indisputable that like the SEC is the most competitive conference.
Yeah.
So a 5 Vanderbilt at a number 8 Michigan.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a big one.
Who do you think's gonna win?
I think Vanderbilt's gonna.
I feel like Michigan.
Michigan
Really?
is they are the team that gave UConn the biggest test so far.
That's
Yeah.
true.
And that was like early on in their season. Like that was one of the earlier.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is even more impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that,
You know what? I think maybe I'll call for an upset.
All right.
I think Michigan might
Who
win.
did they? Okay,
Michigan.
so they lost to Washington.
Okay.
And
So
Washington's
is their
ranked.
other loss? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they? Yeah.
Washington's in the 20s, I believe, but they're there.
Still.
I believe so. I think. Oh, maybe they're out,
Maybe they dropped. They were.
They were last
They were.
week.
Yeah.
but they dropped.
They dropped out. Okay. Okay.
All right, Michigan.
Michigan.
All right, Michigan.
I'm going. Yeah, go blue.
Go blue.
Go blue.
For obvious reasons, go blue.
Go blue.
All right. Who are you taking?
I mean, I'll take Vandy just to like be the bad guy.
Okay.
Just so you guys have someone to blame. I feel like loser has to we should do a bet. Loser has to do something on for the next episode.
Wear a costume.
Wear a costume.
Wear something crazy. Okay.
To
We'll
be
figure it
determined
out.
what that costume
Yeah,
is.
well, or like
Tune in
someone
next week to see.
tune in. Whoever loses, the other people get to decide what they wear for the pod.
Yeah, totally. Or the fans can decide if they want.
Hey, fans.
Comment what you think.
Comment what you think that
we should wear. What was I gonna say? So we're going Michigan, Vanderbilt. Is that like our locked in? Like it's
I'm
kind of
locked
like
in.
me against y'all.
Okay. Yeah. Oh
now
my
I feel
God.
like Michigan is gonna win. Though.
No, but now I'm doubting myself because I like watching Vanderbilt
I mean
beat
they-
LSU like that
Yeah,
was
they've
so
been
epic.
balling.
Like they really pulled that out.
Yeah.
No, I'm locked in.
All right.
Okay.
We're locked.
I'm confident.
Okay, we're locked.
The Wolverines.
All right, done.
blue.
Let's move on to some pro stuff. I feel like we were talking about
Like all college last week.
a lot of college, and obviously there's a lot of exciting stuff in the college space right now, but we still want to touch on the pro stuff. And I
Yeah,
feel like
we're in the middle of a crazy off season.
Yeah, there's
or the
still a lot
WNBA,
going
like
on.
kind of a historically crazy
Yeah.
off season.
Totally.
So do we want to go
Unrivaled.
Yeah.
Unrivaled first?
Let's start with Unrivaled and then kind of weave in the WNBA because at this point
I got
they're
my time on
inextricably linked. Yeah, Lisa's
really
going to
are.
bring us through a beautiful
Beautiful
A beautiful
WNBA.
timeline of the
timeline
CBA.
after our Unrivaled discussion.
Yeah. So you have to wait for that. But yeah, the Unrivaled season just started a couple weeks ago, and it's been fascinating. It's year 2. And I feel like we just had a lot of questions about the league itself, and we're all very fascinated by it in our own ways. But I feel like we should open with sort of the conversation that we were having yesterday about your confusion that you feel towards the league, and maybe we can answer some questions and have good discussion about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So I think like I feel like I know all the pros. Mm-hmm. So like let's start, like you outline what you see as being all the pros of the league.
Okay, let's go.
Let's start positive.
I feel like Unrivaled for these players, it gives them an opportunity to be more self-sufficient, kind of what we touched on last week about playing overseas to have to make more money. They're home-based, which is a huge thing. They can receive branding deals, and it's, we were talking about this, it's almost like a Twitter league, like an all-star weekend that never ends for 2 months, which I think is, it's an interesting way to do it. And whether or not Stewie and Nafisa Collier intended it to be that way, that's, I feel like, to the fans what it feels like a little bit. But I think it's just really for them to establish themselves more as media personalities. And I think that gives them a lot of financial independence and things like that at this point the W's not really providing for them.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, so this is I think where I get caught up in Unrivaled.
Right.
I feel like I know all the reasons why it was created, which obviously if I were in that position, I would have done the same thing. I feel like as far as the product goes,
right,
my one critique is I don't think many of the fans or many average viewers actually care about the actual basketball that's going on there.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
I kind of feel like it's the least interesting part of the league is I'm not really invested in the teams. I'm I can't really keep track of who's on what team, and partly is because they're so amorphous and the teams are rose, laces, mist,
vinyl,
phantom. I'm I kind of I can't really tell what's going on right now, and I feel I never really hear people talking about the actual
what happened
product on the floor.
Did you hear that this team beat that team?
You're
no, did you see on Twitter that this person said this after the game?
Yeah.
Right.
So, and I think that partly it's smart, because I think if we go back 2 years ago to Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark's rookie season, that is how so many of these new fans were engaging with the W, which was okay, these are the players that I liked in college, or these are the players I didn't like in college sometimes.
Right.
And this is what's happening in their interpersonal lives. And I just something about it makes me feel it feels like the Twitch streamer games. If you've seen the Twitch games where it's all these niche Twitch streamers, and they just I don't know, go to one place and play all these games together.
Totally.
I don't know. I feel as a consumer, and this is going to make me sound so capitalist, but I'm I know why you all need this. I think I need to understand more why I need this.
And maybe you don't. I mean, I feel when you think about it, you have college basketball going on right now, and then you have the W in May, and then this is kind of sandwiched in between those. And when you think about the level of play of college basketball and the W, and then and Unrivaled,
this 3-on-3, 1-on-1 league.
It's different.
Yeah, it's and maybe part of it is that I just am not used to this format, which I grew up watching 5-on-5 basketball. That's what I watched.
Right.
But I think the I don't know, part of me is I feel I don't know, if we're getting to the cultural context, whatever, I feel part of the thing that women's female athletes run into all the time, especially now that they have more visibility, is people see them as celebrities first, and athletes is just a secondary thing.
Right.
And I mean, that's kind of what frustrates me about the Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese conversation that happened a couple years ago, is I was this is we're still not we have the most eyes on women's basketball that we've ever had, and we're still not talking about basketball.
Totally.
Totally. So part of me is is this playing into that, and I don't want to come across as being like an unrivaled hater. Like I'm not. I'm like not in that box like at all. But like something about like this super individualized like focus on individual players and less on teams, like it's just like something that I think I still need to get used to.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're asking important questions, and I think it's just tough because it is like a cyclical thing where it's like, oh, well, we're just not there yet, but like soon people are going to realize that the level of play is this, and like we're propping ourselves up with like the drama and all of these things. But the more you indulge it, the more it just continues to be indulged.
Yeah.
But I think the conversation that we were having yesterday that felt most important, that I will hopefully be looping Lucy into to give us some more insight, is that like these players have to do this in a way to make their livelihood in a way that like NBA players will never have to do. And I feel like on a base level, even though it does bring up these questions, like these girls are going to get their bag and like are going to do what they need to do so that they can play basketball year round. And so they have a soft place to land, like we were saying, if they do get locked out by the league or do go on strike, which kind of brings us to what Lucy had created a timeline for us for, where right when Unrivaled started last year, the WNBA was picking up a lot of steam, and now here we are in those negotiations. So please enlighten us.
Let us know, Lucy.
You want us to shift into the CBA?
Please.
Yes.
Okay. Here's my timeline. I find this, like, all of the CBA things so confusing. It's like when I have to really lock in. Mm-hmm. I feel like a timeline's helpful. Like, making this, I was like, oh, okay, this makes more sense. But, okay, so like you were saying, in 2024, in October,
right,
the players opted out of their current CBA. And then a year later, so the following October, Halloween, is when it expired. Mm-hmm. And the deadline... obviously, they hadn't come to an agreement with the league. So the deadline in negotiations was extended 30 days.
And I feel like the originally, when they opted out, a year later, the CBA expired. And they set up the previous CBA so that they could renegotiate as soon as possible.
Right.
So they were like planning for this moment.
Right. Yeah,
right,
premeditated.
Right. Yeah.
For sure. And then, so they had that 30-day extension. 30 days later, on November 30th, it expires. And they have another 40-day extension, but kind of a couple weeks later, in December, like mid-December, the WNBA Players Association authorized the executive committee to call for a strike, like, quote unquote, when necessary. Mm-hmm. Okay. Which they said, like, it didn't mean that necessarily that they were going to. It's just it just shows that they have the support.
So
like
basically,
the players as well.
They told their representatives, like, if you're gonna, we're cool for it. If you call for it,
if you call for it, like we
will do it.
We'll do it.
There were 93% of eligible players that participated.
That just gave me chills.
I know. I'm like, wow.
93% of eligible players participated in the vote, and 98% of them voted in favor. So it just shows like that all the the vast majority of the players are in this same boat and are kind of all together.
Yeah,
like
that's
a show of unity.
Wow, 98 vote in favor.
Yeah,
crazy.
I want to know who those
I know
8 people were that voted no.
Like, please let me play for $70,000 a year. I really
really
want to.
That's really wild.
I know.
That's really interesting.
And then so just this past weekend, Friday, I think, on January 9th, the second extension expires, but they didn't extend it further. So the league is now, they entered this period of status quo, which just means that they're under normal working conditions. Like this can continue for the players and the league as negotiations continue. Mm-hmm. And then where we are now, so on Monday, the league and the Players Association agreed to a moratorium, which is basically just a pause on all league business. And because the league is operating under that prior/current CBA, free agency was technically supposed to have started on the 11th, but obviously during these early stages is when the teams give the qualifying offers and the core designations to players. So obviously players aren't going to want to sign new contracts without the new salary system agreed on in place, especially since presumably they're going to be seeing big increases in compensation, hopefully.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's like where we are currently.
Okay, so can I ask? Okay, so the second extension expired. So then they enter a status quo period.
Yeah.
What do we understand? I think I'm kind of confused about like a moratorium versus like a status quo.
It's basically business ops versus not. Like nobody's like
Okay.
you can't the front office basically can't work with this
Okay.
moratorium right now. So like
Okay.
they can't sign players to new contracts. They can't do basically anything that they would normally do in the off season to build their rosters. And
Right.
things
So in
like that.
theory, if they remain in the status quo period, they could have gone about negotiating like core.
Right,
Right.
but
Foreign
it would be
players and
it
trade.
would kind of. I think both sides were in agreement. Like it would be confusing.
Right.
So they just
So they just entered
Because they would almost
agreed.
be operating in like an outdated CBA.
Right,
Yeah,
like you don't
exactly.
really know. Yeah, you're kind of like preparing for a new one, but you don't actually know what it is. So It
right.
just
So
doesn't
it's like you
make
don't
a lot
even
of
like you
sense.
don't even know what you can offer.
Right. So
Right.
they just
They just decided to
pause.
not.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So and then I don't know, kind of what we were saying. It's just kind of confusing, especially with the like we were saying kind of earlier. This is such a busy off season. There's
Right.
2 expansion teams.
Crazy.
Portland and Toronto are coming in, and that has to take place before free agency. But there's no
wow.
like. Also, the vast majority of WNBA players are free agents. Like,
Yeah.
it's like over 100 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you're Toronto and Portland and you're trying to come in here, you can't. You have no roster. Like, there's no way to like kind of build like your
Unreal.
brand. Like,
No
there's no way to do
roster
anything.
at
Like, you
all.
can't
What,
like you
4
can't like
months?
start selling merch and like.
No.
Oh, like
Yeah,
here are these
players'
players on the team.
jerseys.
Like
Yeah.
here's their jerseys.
It's
Buy
just
them. There's
blank.
no one.
Yeah.
Literally blank. So it's just kind of crazy. And I mean,
Oh my god.
these I don't know. The league is like, I mean, the start of the new season is kind of rapidly approaching, especially
And you don't even know it affects so many things because the draft will be
draft.
in April.
Right,
You don't
and
know
you
who
want
to
to
draft
handle
if you
free
don't have a
agency
roster.
before. Right, you want to. So they have to, and they also there's the expansion draft. So
Right.
then free agency,
free
and the
agency,
college draft.
then the
like,
college
if it's all
draft.
within like
That's
a
what I'm
month or
saying.
two,
How are you going
How
to
are
know
you
what
gonna do
gaps
all
to
that?
fill
Right.
with your like prospective college players when you don't
Right.
even have your free agents signed or you don't even have a team
Right.
for your expansion draft?
I saw
Oh my gosh.
on so ESPN like in October had when they were kind of talking about this potentially happening, they had said that 3 weeks is is the fastest the WNBA could realistically aim to go from like deciding on the agreement to holding practices, like just with everything that needs to happen. And 3
Wow.
weeks is just I mean, I saw that I think it was this week. Brianna Stewart said that I think by the end of this month, like we'll have maybe come to an agreement, but I don't know how accurate that is or realistic.
wow.
But yeah, there's just nothing like that can really take place until the new CBA is in place. Last year, the draft for the Valkyries was in early December.
Right. So they would have. Oh
Already
wow!
happened.
It
They
would
would've
have happened a
been
month
drafted.
ago.
And now there's 2 teams
Yeah.
in the mix. It's not
Right.
just one.
right.
To me, the thing that's the most frustrating is that, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of it, and like I'm not in those rooms, but it's not like the WNBA doesn't have the money to spend. Like maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago, even maybe 5 years ago, they couldn't have done this, but they just signed that huge streaming deal for like $2.2 billion.
Right.
Like you can pay these players what they need to be paid, and they're not even asking for that much. I think they're like trying to raise the minimum salary to $240K or something like that.
They want the revenue, like
They
a
want
sharing model.
they
and
want
not-
a sharing model, and so
Right.
I think that's like where so much of this
That's
is
like the biggest issue.
That's the
for
biggest
sure.
issue.
Right.
Is like, okay, if we do a sharing model, like how much percentage do the players get versus the owners, which is
Right.
like that's just really complicated. And
It
then
is
there's like, in addition to that, what's a salary cap?
Right.
And
That
then and
changes a
also
lot,
like
too.
and then also trying to figure out like how to make sure, from what I've understood, like so much of this is like, how do we make sure that like the top earners aren't walking away with like millions of dollars, and like your middle class, like average players who are like really important to a team but aren't like your all-stars. How do we make sure that they're
Fairly
getting shared,
compensated.
like sharing in this as well?
Right.
So it's like, I don't know, it's just like really complicated, and I'm like getting, I think I'm just getting antsy.
Yeah.
And like the more
The
time,
closer it gets,
the,
it's like,
the closer it gets, I'm like, it's January 14th as we're taping this. March is like
around the corner.
around,
So
like it's
so much needs to
soon.
happen.
So much needs
It's like
to
6
happen.
weeks.
Right.
I know. Like
It's
so
crazy.
much needs to happen.
Your
Before
face.
like,
Can we zoom on that, producer?
Yeah.
Can we zoom in
Hey,
on Lucy's
producer.
face?
but there's also, I mean, you can the last time there was a multi-team expansion was 2000.
Crazy.
So it's like you can maybe like, I don't know, I'm imagining being like Portland and Toronto. Like you're trying to look back, like how did they do it? Like how many?
Yeah, but the context is even
It's- yeah,
so
no,
Yeah,
it's
different
like
because it was
you can't even
25
compare
years
them.
ago.
Yeah.
I know.
No, it's unbelievable. But I
Oh my
also
gosh.
feel like I'm antsy. I want them to reach a deal, but I am like, this is such a pivotal moment, like
Right.
for all of these players that they do need to like get it right and get
for sure.
exactly what
Yeah.
they want, because I really think it's going to define the legacy of the league moving
Yeah.
forward.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm saying.
And I'm like wondering if there's any way that they could like, do you think they would push the season back?
I think it would be most likely that they like condense it, but there's
Yeah.
you can't push it back further into the fall. Like you
Right.
would have
Right.
to just kind of shorten it.
But then you're playing more games in a shorter amount of
Right.
time if they do
And
that.
you have two
that's-
new teams to take
Right.
into account in the
Right.
scheduling. Yeah.
And then players risk injury if you're not
Right.
shortening the season but packing in the game. Like
Right.
there's so many different. It could be like a COVID season type of vibe where they literally just shorten it. I don't want to see the season be shorter or get delayed, but I also am kind of like, yeah, like good for them. If they want to strike,
Yeah.
they should strike.
Yeah.
I know. A strike would be insane.
It would be crazy.
Unbelievable.
They've
Because
never,
at this point, I don't even know. At this point, do you think that we could both have a strike and a season in the summer?
I don't know.
Because like, based on what you're describing right now,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know if that's possible. Because
Yeah.
Which would be like it would be obviously like I agree with you, Catherine. Like I think they would need to, like it's too important, like in this moment especially,
Yeah.
like it's the
Yeah.
biggest moment they've had so far.
yeah, absolutely.
So they definitely need to take advantage of it, but it would be like a shame just because they have so much momentum to just not have a season and
Yeah.
have to miss out on that.
But I'm also almost like, it's also not advantageous for the league and for the
Yeah,
W to have just signed this massive streaming rights deal
100%.
and then to
And then
not
to not have a season.
Right.
That's
Like,
crazy.
There's so much to take into account.
Yeah.
The
And
I
players
feel-
have the most leverage.
yeah,
that they've ever
Absolute- Oh
had.
my gosh.
definitely.
Yeah.
And the players also have the most leverage, and maybe this is like our full circle moment because of things like Unrivaled.
I know. I was just
Like,
gonna do the same thing. I was just gonna bring it around. I feel like so much because Nafisa Collier is vice president
yes.
of the WNBPA.
And the way that
and Stewie.
And
Stewie.
And they're both
and they're
Plum.
both and Kelsey
but
Plum.
the founders, yes.
But but Nafisa Collier and Brianna Stewart are the co-founders of Unrivaled. And every single time I hear Nafisa Collier talking about the negotiations and talking about she brings in her experience as an owner of a league
Yeah.
and she says all the time, like, because I have this experience and because I know what it takes to be able to pay players at the rate that they deserve
and have a sustainable
and
business.
to have a sustainable business model, like that's why I'm not accepting anything less.
right.
And I feel like
just something to note too, even saying that, which we talked about yesterday, they almost broke even last year, but they're expected to turn a profit this year. And I feel like that shows like just the faith and the experience of a founder like that, to be like, well, we didn't make a profit last year, but I still believe in the way that I'm running this league that we will make a profit and we
Yeah.
can still treat our players fairly.
and also, what professional sports league turns a profit in 2 years?
Right.
Like, that's unheard of.
Right.
Right. They also have like physical, like they have like whatever, the trainers.
Yes.
They have all these like amenities and
Right.
things available for the players.
And I do like I will say, like, the way that they've done it, which is that all the players are in one place. They don't have to pay for
Yeah.
transportation. Like
Right.
the
That's
way
true.
that they've like set it up, there's just some things that they don't have to think about that the WNBA has to think about all the time.
Yeah.
That being said, like, I don't think it discounts what an achievement that is
Yeah, absolutely.
at all.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
I want to end on like a crazy, this can be our game for the week, on a crazy question for both of you. Okay. Would you, in your CBA agreement, you're one of the VPs, that's like you, Nafisa, Stewie, and like Kelsey. You're just like kicking it. You're hanging out.
Talking business, us.
Talking shop, in Miami. Would you put fire Cathy in your negotiations?
That was a spicy question.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I feel like I need to think.
Fire Cathy as like a
non-negotiable.
As a non-negotiable for us to okay. Let's let's talk about, I know it's like an animal that I'm like it's okay. Like, don't do it. We're not on strike. We're just negotiating in good faith, quote unquote, right now.
Is there such a thing?
I know.
Yeah, you're not on strike. You're not on strike. Okay. But you can be if that's like what it, like, you can build.
No, Cathy, or we're striking.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I don't know. I think the problem with her leadership clearly is that the players don't feel like, or based on what they've said, like, it's been very combative. They don't feel like they're being listened to by her. And it's not that she's not a good business mind. I think, I'm not 100% sure of her like entire background, but she comes from like a business, whatever.
Right. I think like everything that I have heard, like when it comes to players complaining about Cathy, it's been all about her interpersonal
personality
skills.
Yeah, I think that,
and her ability to like, was it oh my gosh, Elena Deladon saying that like Cathy did not reach out to her when she retired.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy to me.
Okay.
Right.
So yeah, I feel like the problem is like the interpersonal relationships and not the fact that Cathy is bad at being commissioner.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But also like being commissioner, you have to do both.
Right. That's why I think
you have to do both. You have to have the interpersonal skills and you have to be business minded.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You have to at least.
So would I say that it's Cathy or I'm striking? Or Cathy gone or I'm striking?
I don't know if I would go that far.
I don't know if I would
I don't
go
think
that
I would go
far.
that far.
But I think I would sign the CBA with Cathy, and then I think I would make a point to mention that I don't trust her leadership going forward.
Yeah.
You wouldn't
like
be
you would go
mad.
a conference like
I would conference.
Yeah.
I would
put her on
conference.
blast.
Exactly.
I would conference with
Light her up.
with
Let it
leaders
be
at B.
known.
I also, something that I do wonder about, and I don't know if like this is like, we don't have to include this. We can totally edit this out. I don't really care. But sometimes I wonder, just because she reports to the NBA, sometimes I wonder how much responsibility.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, which
is,
and also like kind of infantilizing, if we're being honest. But like sometimes I wonder how much power and hold Cathy actually has when she's reporting directly to Adam Silver.
Yeah.
And
so
so
looks like a Disney villain, might I add.
so I don't know. And that's not to say that like Cathy, I think Cathy's like an amazing commissioner and like any like critique of her personality is like, no. If you're not calling Elena Deladon and like complimenting her and congratulating her for like the career that she's had and like all the injuries that she's faced, like, I'm sorry, like, what are you doing?
If Nafisa Collier, the mother of the league, is speaking out and talking about you in a press conference, like...
Right. Like, I'm not...
Something's wrong.
It's gotten to a point, clearly.
Right.
Communication is broken down. And if you're the commissioner, like, you need to be able to have those skills. And yeah, if you're the commissioner, you need to be able to have those types of skills to communicate with your players and hear them out.
100%.
Especially in this, like, really pivotal time for the league.
Totally.
It's just growing at such a fast rate.
I agree.
All right.
Nice.
Cool. So I guess that wraps up pre-wrap week 2.
God, we hit on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, wait. I want to hear are you calling Cathy gone or you're striking?
I think for me, you're right, where it's like, let's focus on the task at hand here and making sure that we have a sustainable business model that benefits players and players in the future for years to come and continues to grow. Mm-hmm. Would I be mad if there was a change in leadership? No, I'm not mad about it, but I think you keep your focus. Like you don't let those emotions kind of get the best of you.
Yeah.
And focus on the bigger things at hand.
Yeah.
I agree.
Remember when Sydney Colson found her dress? Was it like at Saks
God.
Fifth Avenue?
yeah.
Twitter.
Sydney Colson is, oh my God. Unmatched.
That was a highlight of my Twitter experience, I think.
Or
So
Kathy
good.
dancing.
Dancing?
Also, I'm like,
Oh.
maybe she has like a
On the
speck
Stubbook
of
72
human
hour All-Star
connection
live
skills.
stream.
It's there under. It's living in her somewhere.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
just needs to be activated.
Yeah, come on.
I know. That was also while they were actively
Right. They had
in
just been meeting.
negotiations
Yeah.
for
Yes.
the
They had just
CBA.
Right.
Girls are weird, huh? Oh,
Yeah.
All right, pre-wrap
All right.
week 2.